The body is going to have a vote, the Senate's going to have a vote in a couple hours about whether or not we should approve an arms sale to our friends in Saudi Arabia. I use the friend term because that's what I think they are when it comes to the efforts to win the war against terror. Internal problems in Saudi Arabia are real. They need to modernize the way they do business. They have double dealing in the past of helping terrorist organizations. At the end of the day, the Mideast is a very complicated place. But here's what's not complicated. Saudi Arabia has shared intelligence with us that's made Americans safe. They have allowed us to use their air bases in time of conflict. They're all in against ISIL, and they're a great ally against the ambitions of the Iranians. When you add up the pluses and minuses of the relationship with Saudi Arabia, in my view, it is not close. The pluses outweigh the minuses. And to those who wish to sever this relationship, be careful what you wish for. Saudi Arabia is the center of gravity of the Islamic world. Most holy sites in Islam are in Saudi Arabia. I've met with the king, the crown prince, the deputy crown prince. They have shown willingness to work with us at a time we need partners. And if you drive this good partner, Saudi Arabia, away, you will one day regret it. Here's what's going on in the Mideast. Iran is marching through the Mideast with terror. They're destabilizing the entire region. The Saudi kingdom is not perfect, but they're aligned with us on the big issues when it comes to terrorism and pushing back against Iran. The Iranian regime is controlled by a radical Ayatollah who openly chants and tweets that the state of Israel must be destroyed. This regime is in the hands of a religious Nazi. The Ayatollah in Iran controls everything. There are no moderate voices there left. Since the deal with Iran has been signed regarding their nuclear program, they have test-fired 4 missiles in violation of UN resolutions. One of the missiles basically had in Hebrew, Israel must be destroyed. They constantly threaten our neighbors, our ally Israel. They have taken over 4 Arab capitals. The Houthis, who threw out a pro-American government in Yemen by force of arms, is being supplied arms by the Iranians. The $150 billion the Iranian regime will receive in sanctions relief is finding its way into the hands of terrorist organizations. Hezbollah, a mortal enemy of Israel, has been provided up to 300 new missiles by the Iranians with precision-guided technology to threaten the Jewish state. Assad wouldn't last 5 minutes without Iranian support. They have disrupted all of our gains inside of Iraq. They're influencing Baghdad in a very bad way. So when it comes to Yemen, when it comes to Iraq, when it comes to Syria, Iran is just creating havoc. So this body has a choice. We're talking about $1 billion package of armaments that will upgrade the Saudis' capability to fight more aggressively common enemies like Al-Qaeda and ISIL, and it will give them military capability to challenging the increased threats to the region from Iran. If we say no to the Saudis, not only will that be seen as a slight by the Saudis, they'll buy the arms somewhere else. And if you want to talk about a body that would have things ass backwards, this would be the moment in history where you will be seen in history as not understanding the world. There's some of my colleagues on the other side worried about how the Saudis are using military force inside of Yemen to protect their borders from an Iranian intrusion that is being basically carried forward by the Houthis. There's an effort to bring about peace in Yemen, but Iran has empowered the Houthis to displace a pro-American, pro-Western government, creating havoc for the Saudis. They have dropped bombs on civilians. There is no way to conduct war without mistakes being made. We're trying to sell them new equipment, precision-guided weapons that will lessen civilian casualties when Saudi Arabia has to defend themselves. But I think it would be pretty odd for members on the other side of the aisle who almost unanimously supported the Iranian nuclear agreement to give sanctions relief to an Ayatollah who on the day of the vote said he hopes to destroy Israel in 25 years and deny a weapon sale to somebody who's in the fight with you. You're talking about ass backwards. flush the Iranian regime with capabilities they have dreamed of to try to pursue a nuclear deal that I think is a nightmare for the region, and in the same context, matter of months, start denying Arab allies who are willing to fight with you the capability to fight. If you want to send a signal to the Ayatollah that America's out of the fight and we no longer a reliable ally, stop helping Saudi Arabia and the Gulf Arab states who have been helping us, as imperfect as they may be. What a world we live in, where this body wants to be tough on Saudi Arabia because they're in a shooting war in Yemen sponsored by the Iranians right on their border, that we want to cut off military aid to them because of human rights violations, when the people on the other side are watching Iran destroy the Mideast, threaten us, and create the possibility of a second Holocaust for the Jewish people. Not one person over there has risen their hand to say, you know, maybe we should revisit sanctions on Iran based on what they've done since we signed the deal. So here's the answer. The Iranians have test fired 4 ballistic missiles after signing the Iranian nuclear agreement with us in violation of UN resolutions, and our response is to cut off weapons to Saudi Arabia. We haven't done a damn thing to send a signal to the Ayatollah, hey man, you're going to pay a price if you keep doing this. The Iranians are shipping weapons to the Houthis, who have destroyed a pro-American government, creating havoc in the region inside of Yemen, and our response is to cut off weapons to the Saudi Arabians. If you really want to change the Mideast forever, do this. If you really want to tell everybody who's fought with America you're no longer a reliable ally, do this. If you want to tell the Russians that we're going to cede authority and power to them, do this. The Russians are pulling for us. The Russians would like nothing better than America to cut off arms sales and alliances with the Gulf Arab states, particularly Saudi Arabia, because that would give them opportunity of a lifetime. If you care about the American homeland, you better put Iran in a box as soon as you can. Here's my belief about the Iranians. Not only are they trying to take over 4 Arab capitals, and they have, they're developing ballistic missiles to deliver something. They're not going to put the Ayatollah in space, but I'd like to do that myself. They're going to put something on top of that missile. And I know exactly what it is. And all the Arabs know what it is, and the Israelis know what it is. So at a time of great and clear conflict, and it is clear to me that the Iranians are the bad guys, and our allies in the Arab world are imperfect, but they are still our allies, that we're going to send a signal to the radical regime in Tehran that we're going to roll back supporting our allies and do nothing about your provocative behavior would be a mistake for the ages. I wish the body would have a different debate than we're having a debate today. I wish somebody would come here and talk about reimposing sanctions on the Iranians. They have captured American sailors and humiliated them. They're allies of Bashar Assad, who has butchered 450,000 of his own people. They're empowering Hezbollah, the mortal enemy of Israel. They're humiliating every force of good, and our response is to stand up and undercut an ally. What a world we live in, where the United States Senate is considering stopping selling arms to somebody who would fight with us at a time when we're doing nothing to a country who has called us the great Satan, and if they could, would destroy us and have killed American soldiers by providing radical groups inside of Iraq with IEDs that's killed hundreds of American soldiers. You're talking about a body and an idea that is ass backwards. This is one for the ages. So to my friends in Saudi Arabia, I will push you to do better, and you need to look in the mirror about who you are and what you've done. But I understand that there are more pluses than there are minuses, and to our enemies in Iran, which is not the Iranian people, the Ayatollah. As long as I'm here with my colleagues, we're going to push back against you. We're going to help our friends in Israel more, not less, and we're going to help our Arab allies more, not less, as long as you're doing what you're doing. So to those who want to vote today to suspend this aid to the Saudi Arabia, people in Iran will cheer you on. I yield the floor.